Good day, everyone, and welcome to the tutorial webinar series on the Advancing Excellence Readmission Tracker Tool, sponsored by the Care Transitions team of Health Services Advisory Group. Over the next few minutes, we are going to review some essential components to remember when working on your tracker tool, and also discuss common inquiries and errors we have seen that will help you to review your own work and make corrections to your tracker tool if need be. Let's begin with the drop-down list. I've opened up my workbook, and the drop-down tab is the first, second, third tab right here. It's important to always begin entering data in the drop-down list. Once you enter data in the drop-down list, the information is populated into the appropriate drop-down fields through the workbook. For example, we have TAD typed here under the residence list with the drop-down list tab. If we go over to admitted with recent discharge, and I want to put TAD in there, he is already pre-populated in the drop-down list because we originally entered the data in the drop-down list. It is a very common mistake to begin entering data into the other pages first, like the Admitting with Recent Discharge tab. But doing so will result in errors, so always remember to begin your data entry using the drop-down tab. Another point to remember is to work methodically from left to right. As you enter data in the workbook, working slowly from left to right, that will help ensure that you are not accidentally omitting any data entry fields. Since there are so many fields in the pages of this book, you want to go very slowly, and it really pays off to work slowly and methodically, going left to right. Other important items to remember when entering data into the Advancing Excellence Readmission Tracker tool is to use the drop-down bar commands and not using shortcuts for copying, pasting, and deleting. When you copy and paste, do not use shortcuts like Control-C or Control-P, as doing so may compromise the formulas of the workbook. Instead, it is very important to use the drop-down features. For example, if I want to copy some information, I'm going to highlight it and right-click Copy, and then I'm going to right-click Paste Special, Values, OK. Likewise, if you ever need to delete information, make sure you use clear contents rather than delete. For example, I don't want this information here, so I'm going to right-click, and there is clear contents right there. I'm going to click that, and the information is gone. This is especially true with large volumes of data, and if you just delete the data, you will jeopardize the integrity of the formulas and calculations of the tracker tool. You will want to be especially mindful of these tips if you are transferring data from one workbook to another. Next, I want to demonstrate how to sort your data. Sorting your information into chronological or alphabetical order can assist you to easily identify a resident or target any duplicates that may have been accidentally entered into your database. What you want to do is highlight the column by left-clicking the field and scrolling all the way down. I'm going to scroll all the way down. That's all the information I want to sort. Then I'm going to right-click and see where it says Sort, and I'd like it to go sort A to Z. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to click Yes, and then look. All of our information is chronological, and it makes it so much easier to find a resident that I might be looking for. And also, it can help me look for any duplicates. For example, if you look at R53 and R54, or I'm sorry, R52 and R53, it looks like we either have two residents with a very similar name, or else there was a typo. We have Cindy with an I and Cindy with a Y. Cindy Ballantine, Cindy Ballantine. So this is an indicator to me that I need to go back and double check my records and see if there are truly two different residents with very similar names, or if there was a typo. And if there was a typo, then I can delete the duplicate. Next, let's review the sequence of de-identifying your data. If you are going to share data from your workbook with other facilities, you will need to de-identify patient information. Otherwise, it is a HIPAA violation. So we need to ensure the confidentiality of patient information. It's very important to do the de-identifying in the sequence of Admissions tab, Transfer log, and then the drop-down list. So that sequence again was Admissions, Transfer, and then drop-down. If you find that you de-identified information and your graphs did not populate correctly, you may want to go back and redo this process in order. Chances are pretty good that doing so will correct any problems you may be experiencing. And once again, that sequence of events is to de-identify in your Admissions tab, then you're going to de-identify in your Transfer log tab, and then third and last, you're going to de-identify in your drop-down list. It is not uncommon for facilities to create workbooks that are customized for a particular inquiry or request. It's really important that you always save a new workbook and rename it if you are de-identifying information, customizing, or altering the original workbook as a whole. Once a workbook is de-identified or customized, it overwrites the original data. Therefore, if you de-identified some information, you always want to ensure that you maintain a master copy of your data and save individual workbooks for de-identification, customizing, etc. For example, perhaps this demo right here is my original master. And let's say that I just de-identified some information, and I de-identified it by going through Admitted, Transfer, and then drop down. I de-identified the information, so I want to save the book as, I'll save it as de-identified. And then that way, and if I click Save, then my changes have been saved, and I still have my master copy. It's also a good practice to regularly review and QC your work. If you ever see alphanumeric combinations or punctuation marks, like a pound sign or an exclamation mark or REF in all caps, then that's a warning sign that something is amiss and you need to go back and ensure that your data is accurate. If these are not corrected, then you may also see errors populate on the monthly reports that are found at the right of the tool. Let me show you an example. Here's a cut and paste from the monthly report, from January's monthly report. Do you see right here where my cursor is? It says pound, capital REF, exclamation point, and then it says it there on the third column as well. Okay. That is a hint right there that there's a problem, because what should be entered in that information are numbers, not alphabet letters. So that is a signal that you need to go back and review your workbook for data entry errors. You want to scroll down through your work, and you want to make sure that it's alphabet letters and there's no numbers mixed up accidentally as a typo within your data entry. You want to make sure you didn't accidentally miss a line somewhere. You didn't accidentally put in a punctuation mark or some sort of data entry that would end up and resulting in skewing your workbook. So a regular review of your workbook will ensure accuracy. So as a review of these troubleshooting methods, always begin entering data in the drop-down list. Work methodically from left to right. Use drop-down bar commands and not shortcuts for copying, pasting, and deleting. So make sure you select copy, paste special values OK when pasting, and use clear contents for deleting information. Remember that sorting is a wonderful tool to help put all of your items into alphabetical or chronological order, and it can help you to identify information quickly as well as identify any duplications that you may need to delete. If you de-identify information in your workbook, ensure that you follow the proper sequence by de-identifying in the order of admissions, transfers, and then the drop-down tab. Always save a new workbook and rename it if you are de-identifying, customizing, or altering the original workbook as a whole. If you don't save your information, you will lose your master. Finally, review and quality check your work often, especially when you see alphabet letters instead of numbers, or vice versa. You may see numbers where alphabet letters should be in your different data entry fields. This concludes our tutorial webinar. We do encourage you to join the Advancing Excellence campaign and take advantage of all the resources available to you. If you have any questions about this webinar or using the Advancing Excellence Readmission Tracker tool, please contact a team member from HSAG at 602-801-6916. Thank you and have a great day.